Right, here we go. Okay, mother fluffers. Let's just double check because we've got a history of things going titty-tit south. Well, I would hope.
You know, you're always live for about 10 seconds before you realise you're live on the
Yeah, it's weird. I've become aware that there's a significant delay, isn't there?
Especially when you finish, because you're like, all right, we're done, and then you got to start a conversation.
Yeah, they're not done. We're not done. We think we're done, but we ain't done. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Aftermath, the new weekly Arm Wars follow-up show. For the time being, this takes place here on the Supernatural Strength channel, but it will be moving to loftier climes. Maybe even on occasion from the studio, the Arm Wars, which is basically JCJ Wank's house, upstairs where the Chinese candles be at. And yeah, I'd like to welcome to the show our guest. First of all, it's the filmmaker of Arm Wars. It's the production director of Arm Wars. It's JCJ Wank. Yes, there he is. What out for an arm, you see? Lighting up most of California with the sun beaming off his shaven head. It's Dallas Langston, ladies and gentlemen, right there in the mother fluffing house.
Oh.
Tonight's winner. He won one. He's in Australia. You do know you're an Australian, don't you, Jordan? You're not supposed to win. What's that about? You friggin' won one, mate. Congratulations. Jordan the Reacher Davis is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen.
You know why I won? I didn't bring any American power.
He teed it up lovely, didn't he, in week one? He absolutely teed it up.
He's had that in his back pocket for weeks.
Last but by no means least, in fact, finishing top of the pile, he is the reigning Iron Arm Wars Iron House champion of the battleground in a light heavyweight division. He is the Iron Arm, and his name is Bogdan Stoica. Look at that beaming smile. Hey?
Got it. I got it. I told you I'd get it. I got it.
Have you got your mug?
Go on, Jason. Get in there.
Have you got your mug?
Huh?
Where's your mug?
I must admit, where's your mug?
The mug? Can't drink cider, apple cider in the mug, man. Doesn't work like that.
No, I don't work like it.
The trophy mug.
Hey, guess who's in the chat, Bogdan?
Who?
Just come in with a super chat. It's Ryan Bowen.
Oh,
with you, Annie.
The man wants me bad.
It said, YouTube won't let me send a super chat. I want to. Just imagine a double bird. So he wants to give it that, but YouTube's blocked him out.
I love you, Ryan.
So, guys, it's over. Literally months of waiting since the end of January. Yeah. And you guys weren't able. And I want to say thanks on behalf of myself and James for keeping it completely locked down. And I think the proof of the pudding's in the eating, and it does make a difference. I'm sure everybody in the chat agrees. These guys don't tell you the results. It makes a difference. The excitement is real, and it's like watching it live. It's fantastic. Now, I want to start with Dallas, because interesting for you, Dallas. Obviously, you're a guy that's been in the sport now for a significant period of time, but this is your first time ever in the Arm Wars Super Series. We'd invited you over a number of times. Various stuff came up, injuries, tournament commitments, clashes at the same time. And most recently, we had a situation where you were a significant period. Can I hear myself back on something?
Bogdan.
Was that up, Mark? Bogdan.
Technical wizard.
Technical whiz. He's just sorting out. I'll just wait for that to go there. Hey. And he might be able to win an arm wrestling match, but he's no technical person. Get Ray on here and sort that out. So I was saying, yeah, for Dallas, your first time in Arm Wars, mate, how did you find it? How did the Arm Wars experience compare with your previous event experience? Do you like it as much? Do you like it more? Just walk me through that a little bit.
It was awesome. I'm happy that you guys invited me out, so I appreciate it. Thank you. The results weren't what I was hoping for, but I learned what I needed to know if I get invited back again, what I need to do training-wise to come out winning. But yeah, it was a great experience. I liked it. Everyone was cool to be around. It was just good all around. Yeah, it exploited some of my weaknesses, which I think is better for me long term than going in there and winning. If I would have just won, I wouldn't have changed anything, and then I would have just thought, oh yeah, I'll come back and win again. So it was good for me.
Now we had a real outpouring over you, really, and over your character, mate. A lot of people, even though you've been in the sport for a long period of time, there were people saying, you know what, I've seen Dallas pull many times, I've seen Dallas involved in many things, but I've never really heard much from Dallas before. I didn't know his character. I didn't know what he was like.
They didn't know I was this fantastic in real life, huh? This is all this is so new to everyone. They're like, oh my gosh, I would have been friends with him years ago if I would have known he was this cool. But no, I'm pretty quiet.
Well, you in the house, you were the guy that was always having a laugh, always getting in the banter, cracking a joke.
Oh yeah, I'm used to that. It's because I mean I was comfortable. If I just meet somebody, I'm not gonna just start cracking jokes or whatever. So it usually takes me a minute to warm up, and then it just starts firing out. So, but yeah.
And let's talk about the sort of format differences, mate. Obviously, we saw tonight, and I'll bring the other lads in a moment as well. But we saw tonight, you were the latest in a long line of really experienced arm wrestlers that have come over to the Arm Wars Super Series and experienced a different level of fatigue. And you're a guy that's been known for being able to grind out battles. In fact, you look to draw people into long dogfights, and you made a career of winning those. What was different, mate?
So I do much. So I'm not going to make excuses. I just obviously didn't have the endurance that I thought I had. There's a couple of differences. So in Europe, or in, what your format, the guy on the buckle, he gets to determine tightness. This whole tightness, looseness thing is all very new in arm wrestling in the last year, honestly. Unless maybe not in Europe, I don't know. In the US, it's always been crank that thing down. You would just say, hey, crank it down again, and they'd crank it down, and everyone had to play in my game. And so as you saw in me and Jordan's match, you could tell, even if you didn't know arm wrestling, that my hand and wrist were totally compromised very early on. And if I have a very tight strap and a compromised hand, it doesn't matter. I can still drag sideways. I can engage a little bit differently. So with a loose strap and a fatigued hand, I couldn't beat my 9-year-old daughter. So it's that was one of the big differences. The other thing that I try to take some type of, I try to feed my ego a little bit to justify my losses, I guess. So coming out of it, I'm like, well, if it was a tournament, I would have won the tournament. I won the first match. He would have been on the B side. I would have wiped him out. He would have been out. So I'm like, tournament wise, I'm good. Super match, I freaking blow. So I need to train a couple of things. Hand and wrist obviously is the most obvious, and then endurance. And that's what I've been training my ass off in the past few months, because I can't take this mental loss. And the way that I can counter back from it is I have a chance here in like 2-3 weeks to be number one in North America by winning a tournament that Craig Tullier is going to be in. And that's my plan, and I'm going to do it.
So do you feel like you've grown from the experience at Arm Wars? Do you think it's really benefited you in your all-round arm wrestling, not just a sort of super match thing?
100%. Yeah, because it's changed up my training. So I have to be more well-rounded. I need to get to a point where strap or no strap, it doesn't matter. And hand and wrist no longer have the ability to be compromised. I actually have a strong hand and wrist for 1 to 2 matches, and then it turns to shit, and then I rely on the strap. So I need to get it up to where it's like, it just doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So those are beneficial takeaways for me.
It's interesting. Good friend of mine, Jamie Sheldon, good friend of yours, Jamie Sheldon, in the chat. Yeah. Jamie, how you doing, mate? And he's put, we train tight strap, so your fingers go numb. It's true.
Yeah.
And he's also, a bit of love for you, James. He's put, James, great show, great production. And hats off to you.
Cheers, Jamie.
Tremendous effort, mate. I mean, you could say that you guys have a similar name, apart from the fact you're called Jason. So
is this yours?
I want to. I think you'll find that Jordan's got the longest one of them in maybe modern history.
In the southern
That's-
hemisphere.
Yeah, when you pulled that thing out, you nearly had somebody's eye out. Ray was the back of room, nearly lost an eye with that. Absolutely serious. Big, big bird from the mighty Jordan Davis. But Jordan, I can't hold it any longer. You won one.
I did.
You went on
I
an
did.
emotional roller coaster. I mean, that we had comments, a lot of love for you tonight. A lot of love for you when you lost, a lot of love for you when you won. It's funny that, isn't it? The relationship between the win and the loss. Did you feel it as bad as it looked like you did at the show there? I mean, you kept it in well when you were with the lads.
No, Jay Wank's just great with his timing.
Yeah.
Definitely felt it pretty damn hard. Yeah, especially with like, coming this far, but you have literally no one else. You've just got people from pretty much that side of the globe. Like no one came south from the equator, and you kind of there by yourself. I didn't have a corner man, all that kind of thing. Like it was like me in my own head, and then you in my face when I was up against Bogdan. But other than that, yeah, like it was a tough game to get through because I haven't been up against those kind of odds, or an opponent as good as Bogdan. And I've been with Dallas before, so I kind of knew my rhythm. But still, he's put on so much power since. Like I remember last time when we were at 185. It didn't feel like you had power. It just felt like you had like that really ugly bone lock. But now, like I can feel that horsepower coming through. So, yeah.
And I want to. We got a super chat just coming from Pelanev. Thank you very much, brother. Really appreciate that. Norwegian Crowns, thank you. And he's put great match, guys. So I think a lot of people really loved that tonight. I think a lot of people were on the edge of the seats. We got another comment from Jamie Sheldon there in the chat saying that he was absolutely driven in that match. He loved it. He was on the edge of his seat watching. And I think that a lot of people agree with that. Ryan Bowen with a super chat for you, Jordan. And he's put, you would be a monster if you had genuine out of straps threat too. Good decision. Now, for the people who don't know, just tell everybody how old you are, Jordan.
I am 26.
So you're only really a puppy. You're only a young lad. You've got plenty of time. I mean, you're probably not even reached your strength potential yet, mate, in terms of your
I think I was like
significantly.
Second or third youngest in the house.
Yeah, that's true. You would have
I
been.
mean, there was Rolly Ray, 11.
Yeah, he's 11 years old.
Yeah, it's impossible to be younger than Rolly Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian's on the young as well, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's 1 or 2 years younger than me. And then I think everyone else was older.
Yeah, I mean, so. Dallas, how old are you, mate? Oh, you're on mute, mate. You're on mute, Dallas.
Mute.
There we go. I said sorry. I tried to mute myself because my dog is underneath me snoring right now. But I am 35.
35 years old. So yeah, you're giving away a lot of age and experience there, Jordan. When you came over, did you feel isolated? Did you feel, what's the right word? Did you feel out of your depth a little bit in terms of just new experience, different experience?
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. Especially in a match with Bogdan, like it just felt like he was a league above, and took me where I couldn't go until he gave me what I wanted, and that was the only time that I felt comfortable in that match. But yeah, definitely felt pretty damn isolated.
And is that sorry, go, James.
I was just going to say, what about generally in the house? Because when you came into the room and we just got chatting, we just got to a level, and it felt like you had a load of bags with you, that it wasn't until you got into the room and we started talking, you was like, oh, I can open these bags. Like, yeah. I'm in a place of trust. I can open these bags. How hard was it? What was it like emotionally holding all that in the rest of the house? Was it easy? Did you connect with anybody else?
That's usually pretty easy for me. I'm usually like, I just focus on the moment with the guys. But when I went into that room with you, it's like I've got to review that and kind of like really dive into the way that I was feeling, and the questions that you asked just brought out, what everyone just saw. So yeah, it was no. That's who I am. I just would have been coming back and doing that back here in Australia eventually anyway. So yeah.
Dallas, how much did you feel similar in a way to Jordan? Did you feel like was there an element of being out of your comfort zone? Was there an element of, okay, this is weird, this is different?
I wish there was, like, honestly, so I could have some excuses, but I felt fine. The timing was a little bit weird in terms of like the time frames of the UK being off by a day or a half a day.
Is it in a sleep pattern sense? Were you not sleeping
Sleep
great?
pattern, but I felt like I adjusted pretty quick thanks to your advice of just stay up all the way until you literally can't.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no excuses. It was a good environment and I was ready to go, and I just lost.
And what about you, Bogdan, traveling 4 hours up the motorway?
Yeah.
Listen, it was horrible.
Now, Bogdan, joking aside, mate, not your first rodeo in Arm Wars. And you had a very different experience in your debut in the promotion, where you were competing in front of numerous thousands of people against an absolute established entity within the promotion. How was Iron House different for you, mate? Were you aware of it? Were you not aware of it? You seemed like you were bristling with confidence.
Iron House for me was, to be honest, less pressure. I mean, it was pressure, but it was a different kind of pressure. The pressure was, my thought was, okay, no, I love Jordan. I love him right now. I love him even more than I met him, twice more. It's just that I came in, the pressure on me was not to lose to Jordan. That was the pressure, because I would have been probably the first guy after the lockdown ended, which would lose to an Australian. And I know that's bad, but I did not want to do it. That was my pressure. The other Arm Wars, there was like, what, 200?
You realize what you've just done to Dallas there?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say you inadvertently took Dallas in there, son. When you said that, I was like, Dallas is thinking, you massive stroker. Thanks for that.
Dallas is coming back for you.
You didn't want to lose to an Australian.
Next time you're in that kitchen, Dallas will be poisoning your food, mate. Yeah, he's definitely poisoning some stuff, isn't he? He's like a little bit of that.
Dallas is an amazing guy and a quiet sleeper. Love you, Dallas.
Are you hearing the snoring? I can mute it again.
Yeah, I asked when I got into the Iron House, I had a different experience before. So when I got in the Iron House, my first story was, who sleeps like a baby? Who doesn't fucking snore in this place? And Dallas was like, I don't think I snore. I said, okay, we're bunking together.
Yeah, he's in the same room. But straight away, it's all about the strategy. Dallas, don't worry, we can't hear the dog, mate. You're good. It's not a problem. But so I want to focus on the whole situation with Frode Hoagland's absence, because what people won't have seen was that threw us into early turmoil, and it was kind of weird. So from the middle of the week, we started to get photographs over to the group chat for the battleground that Frode had a serious leg infection. That literally carried on. We had Frode live in the house talking to him and his missus the night before the actual event was going to kick off, and Frode was still trying to get there, and the lad couldn't walk. But it did throw a real spanner into the works, and we had to change things around. We had to change the running order around. Obviously, Dallas was originally slated to pull Frode first. When you saw that Bogdan had pulled Jordan and you were slated to pull Bogdan next, did that apply a bit of reverse psychology? Did it apply a bit of pressure? There's a degree of comfort gained by actually having arm wrestled as well. And he got some fast finishes on Jordan. He looked like he didn't expend a great deal of energy. You think that gave him a little advantage?
Are you talking about to me?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was definitely, I was just ready. I didn't care who it was. I was surprised at how quick Bogdan had beat Jordan, because I knew the last time I had faced Jordan, he was obviously very there. And so I was shocked, but I just thought, he's tall, he's going to go outside. He already has agreed to the strap. I'm going to catch him. It's going to be over. And so, yeah, I didn't care who it was. I was bummed that it was not Frode, because really in my head, the way it was going to go down was me and Frode were going to be in hook war after war. And whether it went my way or his way, the second round, whether it was me and Bogdan or me and Jordan, I have great excuses to lose. So I didn't even care about the second round. It was more like, I need to win the first one and then move on. And I figured that first one was going to be with Frode. Mm-hmm. And I just knew war after war after war, we're going to be spent. We're going to go to the second round, and who gives a shit? So it just sucked that the way that it went down, but nobody could have done anything different. So it is what it is.
Now, I know that when we were talking in the kitchen at the iron, we just had a super chat come through. Let's knock this over. Ryan's exposed cable. Thanks for your super chat, mate. He's put Jordan. Oh, controversial. He's put Jordan, just eat the pancakes, buddy. Call Devon, eat, consume, grow big, pancakes, and win. What do you say to that, Jordan?
Fuck the pancakes.
Don't want to know. Bogdan and Jordan, very anti-pancake. So what I wanted to ask Dallas, just continuing where I was at there, when you came over, Dallas, you were very much, look, I wanted to come over and see what the myth and legend's about on a number of levels, with the arm wars thing and also with this European phenom, European arm wrestling's this, European arm wrestling's that, and you wanted to get a grip of that, understand the differences, the nuances, and straight off out of the gate, you get a shot against Bogdan. Now, it's fair to say that someone like Frode is a lot more towards the North American style in the way that he arm wrestles. He got that grind. So in some respects, through Frode not being there, you got the acid test of what you were trying to achieve, or what you told us you were trying to achieve. How did that feel, mate? Was it as significant as you thought? Was the difference as big as you thought? Did you learn anything about that? And obviously you got to see Bogdan pull before you arm wrestled him.
On the bench upstairs.
It was
we can still hear you, Jordan.
I would say it was a perfect example of what to expect in Europe. And I took some positive sides from it. Power-wise, power to power, I don't think there's anyone in 200-pound class that scares me. If anyone goes inside, fresh for fresh, I'm not worried about anybody. So that was one of the things that I try to take away, some type of thing to build my ego up and keep myself feeling fine about losing. That was one of my takeaways, because I had pulled with Cedrus.
Yes, Andres. Yeah.
This dude's a bad dude. He's 200 and whatever some odd pounds. And
you nearly got a match with Cedrus.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted
him for it, weren't you?
That other dude, the other guy that he went against, because Cedrus's hand is actually very manageable. So I'm like, if I actually get a good win on that dude, that'll look really good for me. So power to power wise, I felt very.
Keep calling him Cedrus, and he will come for you.
Yeah.
Sheddy.
Yeah.
So, that was one of the takeaways. Was like, I just need to learn the craftiness, and it takes me, when I lose a match, it usually takes me a few days to dissect what took place and learn to counter. And that was another one of the takeaways, was like, dude, you guys are so fast at adjustments and knowing what to do. Like, if I grab you here, you know to go here. If I grab you here, you know how to, that's one of the things that I need to pick up on and get faster and better at, is just the adjustment game. Because that was very impressive. I grab him low at the end. I'm like, he's going to dive into a press. I'm going to come outside and catch him here and then roll him over. And he's like, oh, he grabbed me there. What a dumbass. I'll just freaking top roll. I'm like, fuck. Everything I did, there was a counter and an instant counter. So that was another, just one of the big takeaways, is knowing where someone's grabbing you, where to go and developing that move. Because as of like my career of arm wrestling has based on one move, and being able to transition into a press, if you want to call that my second move, I don't have 6 counters. So that was like very evident to me, like, hey, if you want to be at the top of the top, you can't just go in like this every match, because you're going to get burned out, especially if it's a big tournament. If it's at some point Zloty or something, which is like my end goal, then I need a lot of these different moves so I can finish matches quickly and still be fresh in other areas.
Well, that's an interesting point, isn't it? Because if you, let's say, for example, Frode had been there, you and the whole idea there was that you guys had just run headlong into each other, you know, because he's not the kind of guy who makes a habit of going around people. Right. If you'd have pulled Frode, win, lose, or draw, you would have probably come out of that match in seriously bad shape.
100%.
Now, do you think that would have left you lamb to the slaughter from the two lads on the opposite side? Because win or lose, you're pulling one of those guys. As we saw, bit clinical. Obviously, it's difficult to pull Bogdan into a dogfight.
Right. Yeah, I think I wouldn't have cared as much, because that was my when I was on the plane to get to you guys, my whole mindset is wars with Frode. Yep. And the aftermath of round 2, I didn't even give it. Like, it was like, who cares? I get to have wars with Frode, who's known as the dude inside, and I'm going to blast through him. That's what my whole mindset was. So then the whole thing obviously shifts, and I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. Yeah. So
how bad did that bother you mentally, mate? Because very difficult situation, isn't it? When, I mean, as you know, I was devastated. I mean, I feel like Frodo's usually the first name on the team sheet. He really is, because he's just an incredibly entertaining. It was a massive blow to the first Iron House event to not have Frode there. He's almost like a talisman of I mean, he was on the goddamn poster at Reality Check when we made the comeback. You know, he's the guy, isn't he? So having him not there was it sort of put a bit of a dark cloud on the event initially. But I can imagine for you, the guy that was slated to pull him, that must have been even worse.
Yeah, it sucked. Yeah, it just sucked. But there's nothing you can do. What else do you do? I mean, the dude's not there. His leg's blasted. So it was mentally, I'm like, dang, this sucks. And then part of me was also very worried about Jordan, because I hate pulling tall dudes. I hate pulling that huge, tall leverage back top roll where they have hand movement. So even like the way that I saw it down, when Bogdan and Jordan go and we see what happens, I'm deep down like really nervous, because I'm like, I've got to not only beat Bogdan, but I can't lose to Jordan. And I know he's hard to beat for me, even if my arm is fresh. Yeah. So there was a lot of like that mental side was just going into like, dang, this is going to be bad for me no matter what. So I would have been so much better off if I had war after war with Frode, and then the rest wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, it would have been, you'd have just judged your performance and measured your performance on how that had gone. Fair enough. Holy moly. Super chat's just come in from Mark. Oh my, Marcus Thompson is the king of Earth. Oh, look, what a dude that is.
What's he done now?
Marcus Thompson's come in with a massive super chat. Marcus, mate, cannot thank you enough. What an animal. What an hombre.
Marcus, actually the very first guy to send a super chat to the Arm Wars channel.
He actually wasn't.
Oh, was he not?
No, there was another guy tonight.
He was second, wasn't he? No, the Swedish guy.
With a third. Another guy was the first in earlier.
Another guy, if you're out there, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that guy.
Thank you all the same.
Who did that? But Marcus, with the career record in super chatting, he's the biggest super chatter in the history of all time, and full on frigging legend.
Yeah.
So Marcus,
he is a legend. Official.
Yeah, official. Arm Wars legend member. Marcus, thank you again, mate. He's put. Oh, here we go. He's in agreement. He's put. Frode, the smiling assassin, was a big loss for the show, but these boys brought the heart, power, and emotion of Arm Wars DNA, didn't they? Just roll on next Friday. Yeah, they really did, Marcus. They really did. I mean, you know, people can say what they want about the reaction of Jordan there, but lad wasn't kidding. You could see how much it meant. You could see how much it impacted you after the match with Bogdan. And I want to come to you next, Bogdan. You really wound up the gas on this young man. You really did. I mean, people, we even toned it down. Some of the guys and the legends have seen some of that, but we toned it down from what you went in hard.
Not a lot, but we just turned from 11 to 10.
Yeah.
Just a tweak.
Was that always
just so we didn't get demonetized or something?
Was that always the plan, mate? Was it the age thing? Did you come to the Iron House thinking, "Oh, I got something for this guy"?
No, I came to the Iron House thinking I don't want to lose to an Australian guy. And the thing is, when I saw Jordan, he was there for about 2 hours, and I was looking at him, and he did not really feel in his element. And I said, okay, let's give the guy a welcome. Jordan, I still love you, brother. But I said, let's give him a nice welcome. So the more I was saying, the more I could see him. His whole demeanor was changing. The more I felt that I was getting somewhere with what I wanted. So the more I was giving it and the more result I was seeing, the more I wanted to just continue. So yeah, I think that worked out, because I think I was in his head a little bit, especially after the first 2 or 3 rounds. Yeah, a little bit.
Did it really unsettle you, Jordan? You know, and I don't mean just the match itself with Bogdan. Did it unsettle you for the day? Did it unsettle you, destabilize you mentally?
Yeah, like going in, you know, clearly I was not the favorite. Like I knew that, and I just tried to keep biting back to try and, you know, say, you know, I'm still here. Like you give me a chance, you know, you slow down, I'll give you something. But, you know, in my head, I'm like, guy's legit, and he kept talking like he was legit, and I knew it was true. So, yeah.
Had you had
he
a
was
lot
uncomfortable
of
in that room? Jeez.
Oh, when he started
horrible place to be.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
give him a break. He's come a long way.
Yeah. Rolly amplified it, didn't he? You know, when Bogdan started.
I think Rolly actually helped by shouting the Bowen line. I think Rolly helped. I think the audience helped a bit. Yeah.
I mean, for everybody who is interested, the first ever edition of the F Bowen official Arm Wars t-shirt has been launched to Arm Wars members. All Arm Wars members have the opportunity to buy that thing. And I can tell you, having got hold of one of them, they are mega quality. That's the thing. It's the most premium piss take shirt in the history of shirts. They're like a really good quality. You know, the breathable sublim material like you have in the house competitor. They're like that in a piss take shirt. It's awesome.
Let's show them a picture of it.
Thing's gonna last forever.
Well, here's a teaser. I saw it this morning when I woke up. I was like, oh no, that's buyable.
The back is incredible. It's got Ryan like that, giving it. Oh,
no, I think it's the front that gets me.
Absolute class.
Oh, that was a different one. Yeah.
Originator of the F Bowen shirt. We're gonna have a couple of variants in that. Look at that. Look, hey, tremendous, absolute quality. You must be very proud.
Oh, so proud, so proud.
A win and an iconic.
It's going to be like, I'm going to go to a tournament at some point and someone's going to be wearing one. I'm just going to be like,
yeah, with your face on. They're
going to be walking
everybody in Australia.
Sharpie, can you sign this?
Banter value 101. It's absolute quality in it. Nobody's got anything like that in the world, you know. Just epic stuff. So we got Matt Tickle My Limits, Lara, going with a super chat. Matt, good to see you, mate. He's put Arm Wars is brilliant. Everyone was great. F Bowen. Would Bogdan say his press is his best weapon? Again, such a great show. Bogdan.
Yeah, I would say it's my greatest weapon. I got a really, really good hook, but because usually I attack with the press, right? And if somebody stops me or gets me out, which is very, very rarely, I have the hook. I have a very strong defensive hook and offensive from the stop. But I think it's up there. My top roll lately, my top roll has been coming along to its old glory. Let's say that.
Starting to rediscover it, some venom
there. I'm starting to love it again because I'm seeing results and I'm starting to love it again. It's definitely an easy path through people.
So we got.
When do you think you'll get the opportunity to hook the man? You never hooked him. When do you think you'll get the opportunity to hook the man?
I'm sure I will. I'm sure he'll be back.
But it's funny, wasn't it? Because with Dallas, the one time you really went for a hook, you weren't going for a hook. Knowing how you hook, you didn't try and set yourself with your slow and driving in there and set yourself. You were going for your blast finish, and you got caught in two minds.
Yeah.
Not a good look with someone as powerful as Dallas. Not a good look. Because the diesel went on your ass, didn't it? And you could see that look on your face like, oh, fuck, this guy's strong.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I ain't fighting because I'm going to just gas myself out here. Go, Dallas, take it. It's legit.
It's a terrible feeling when you got proper power.
Make sure you have that same mindset with Bowen, because I know you guys have a confirmed match, right? September?
Oh, it's coming.
Or whenever it is. I know, so I got to give you some advice because I've pulled Bowen and we all go into it the same way where we're like, we're going to beat him. You take him down a notch in your brain. He's not only good, he's gotten better, and he will play the little bullshit mind games with you. That's literally why a major reason I lost my super match with Bowen was the mental shit where I was like, he said, oh, you're going to pin yourself. And I'm like, you can break my fucking arm off before I pin myself. There's no way.
That's
I'm out like this, just driving, ruined myself. So don't fall into that trap. Beat him quickly. Be prepared. He's very strong on the inside, legitimately. You will win if you play your game. So don't fall into his bullshit.
See, the thing is, I don't underestimate anybody. I never underestimated Jordan. Actually, I think I went harder on Jordan than I went with you because I don't like underestimating people. And the thing is, I won't underestimate Ryan whenever we get to face each other. And that pin myself whole bullshit. I think it's an American or Australian thing because that says nothing to me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I will pin myself if I know that I have 5 more rounds. And 5 more.
With me. So just be prepared. If he catches you like that, lay down if necessary, and then fire in with. You have way more of an arsenal than him. So
I could have gave it to you when you caught me. I could have went crazy. Well, right. What was the point? Because I felt what I needed to feel. Then I left it because there was no point. I would just gas myself out, and you were in a beautiful position. So
right.
No.
Be prepared. I told this to Jan Shaw too. I said the same thing to him. Like, dude, he'll surprise you. If he catches you, he has great cup and pronation. Like, if he gets you in that spot, don't be too much full of your ego to just be like, okay, you won that round, and then go in with your game plan to win the next.
Well, make no mistake about it. He's a really good puller. Ryan's
I'm not going into this thinking that Ryan is weak. No. That's not the things in my head. The things that are going through my head. Ryan is definitely not weak. I know he's definitely technical, and he's a challenge. And I want to see if he can get everything he's got in the bag on the table. If he can get it quick enough where it can pose problems for me.
Yeah,
have you got yourself a quadratic arm yet, Dallas? Bogdan?
A what?
The Sabine quadratic fist. You know the Sabine handle? Holy my God.
No, I got my boys. They keep me on track.
Mate, that frigging handle is the most brutal. God damn, you need to come and have a go on that. I'll tell you. Oh, that will just test your frigging elbow. Connective tissue, insertion points, bleed from your asshole. Just terrible things. Bad, mate. When you, oh my God, you don't need nobody.
Jordan's got a look on his face like he's had a go.
Have you tried it? How hard is that? Joking aside,
I tried Ryan's.
How difficult are they?
They're pretty. The only thing I could do to that thing was literally just drag it back. Like I got it back, and I was like, okay, no, can't go anywhere. That was it. I just dragged it down. I was like, I can't go anywhere now.
Yeah, the SB Pronator handle is a badass piece of kit. I tell you, if you want to test yourself, have a look at one of those. Ben Young with a super chat for Bogdan Stoica. He's put, when did Bogdan start to arm wrestle?
I started arm wrestling. I think my first competition was 2010. And
was this when you were still male modeling then?
Yeah.
Dallas thinks I'm joking. No, really. Dude's a male model.
I didn't know you were messing around. You're serious.
For real.
That sucks. I got smashed by a freaking model.
You got smashed by a Romanian male model.
Oh, so stupid.
Yes, I got into.
How bad's that? You lost both matches, and one of them was to fucking Zoolander. Oh yeah. Tremendous. Hit the steel. There it is. Nice. But yeah, when did you start to arm wrestle them, mate? 2010.
It was 2010, and I mostly top rolled. I did not like anything else. I mostly top rolled for about 7 years, but I wasn't serious about arm wrestling. I was on and off and on and off and on and off, training once a week. That's not arm wrestling. That's a hobby. Then about 4 or 5 years ago, I said, okay, let's see what I can do if I really set my mind to it. And when I moved
at that point, though, mate, 4 or 5 years ago, how was your how did you feel competitively amongst your peers before you decided, okay, is there something there?
Yeah, it was good.
I still won a few national titles back in Romania, even just top rolling, because once one ace move, you develop it. That's why I said I'm starting to fall in love back again with my top roll, because it was really good at some point.
You always had that dragging hook as well, though.
Yeah.
You had that as well, didn't you? You'd said that it was more of an open move, but you always had that with you, where you'd just, if you fell short, you'd fall into that dragging hook, and you had good connection there.
Yeah, but that started when I moved to UK, because I had a lot of free time with my work. I said, what am I going to do with all this free time? Let's arm wrestle. So then I started just doing it almost every day, twice a day, and I think it's a bit of an obsession with me now.
Yeah. So hope that answers your question there, mate. And we got another super chat in from Brad Butler, big supporter of the channel, Brad. How you doing, Brad? Thank you very much, mate. He's put, Dallas.
Another legend.
I know losses hurt, but it was effing awesome getting to see your personality through this thing. Keep your head high and the best of luck in your upcoming tournament.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm fine now. It was a little bit of a, last week watching the show was awesome, even though I knew the results sucked. I could get over it because I had that moment where I'm like, oh, you're so screwed to Bogdan. Then today it was rough. So I'll need to be coddled later to get over it emotionally. But I'll
somebody needs to hold you.
I was extremely surprised at how well you took it in the house. Just your attitude overall of just, but I've come here as an experiment. And as far as the experiment goes, it's a huge success. The result, dog shit. But the experiment, I've learned, I'm taking a lot home with me.
Yeah.
And that was a great attitude.
You learn a lot from the losses. So it makes me, it takes a minute. So you lose, I'm pissed. And then I'm like, I always question, what the hell am I doing? And then about 3 days pass. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to murder everyone. And then it's back to training.
Fair enough, mate. It's the right attitude to have, but I've got to echo that sentiment that James has said there. You really did take it like a frigging champ, absolutely on the chin, and massive respect to you from everyone in the house. I know I've spoken to Bogdan about it. I know, and a number of the other UK guys who were in the house, and they were very impressed. You were a really popular member of the crew there. So it was, you did yourself proud. And I can't wait to get you back on an ARMWRESTLING, mate. I thought you were a fantastic guy to have over. Had a lot of fun with you. I think you're a bad mother fluffer. Tons of matches for you, Dallas Langston.
Well, let me know when Bowen's in it. So I'll take the winner of Bowen and Bogdan.
Hey,
we spooned together.
Wait, do you know what the most disturbing thing of the whole shot was?
What?
On James's edit, classic, where in a nice, quiet, deep voice, Paul Maiden, who's not without reputation, walks up to the table and says, let me just get this strap on, boys, and everything will be all right. All on happens. Watch that back. Then a chill down everybody's spine. There's people in the back of the room having a nervous tick.
They just ran out.
Holy, you don't want that in your life, do you? Yeah, you see him come up with some palm olive in his hand, you run like hell.
Real life instinct come back till round 3.
Yeah, Ray's right up his street, isn't he? All would be right up Ray's street. Anyway, Henry Bowerslow with a super chat. But I also don't know much about Dallas before this, but what an awesome guy. Jordan pouring his heart out was super emotional to watch in a good way, of course. Yeah, a lot of watching that back, Jordan. How did that feel to you?
I got a pretty good memory, and you know, to me, it's already happened. It's already been there. It didn't hit home or anything like that because you know I know that it was there, but just glad that everyone can see who I am, and glad that Arm Wars is around to be able to show everyone. So. Yeah.
Thank you, mate, for just being so support the channel. Thank you, mate, for being so just open. And I went through an emotional roller coaster in that room with you that weekend. So thank you.
Genuinely, when you came out, both of you looked like you've been doing lines of coke off the back of the box. Your eyes were all like, what's been going on in there with you two? I know it's late, but steady on. So we got a super chat from eHawk42. Thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate it. And he's put, Neil, love the new Arm Wars, but can't stand when a round gets spoiled by the voiceovers, i.e. Jordan saying he's giving me his wrist before Dallas fails to flop wrist press him. We then see it coming from a mile away. Okay, thank you for the feedback, mate. We got another super chat from Brian Damage and the Memories. Sorry, Brian Damage. I thought I'd misread that, but it is in fact Brian Damage. He's put, I've always wondered, and Neil, I think you could answer this better than anyone. Why do some matches or leagues say ready, go instead of just go? What's everyone's preference? Doesn't go make more sense? Yeah, the ready is supposed to be just the precursor so that people are prepped and just can suck and load in off their lap. Go would be fine as well. I don't think it makes a great deal of difference. You know what's coming and you get a feeling. A lot of arm wrestlers actually watch the ref. Some guys will, given the choice, will go to the side where they can comfortably get their shape and watch the ref, because particularly at major tournaments where you aren't familiar with the referees and there's a big assembly of referees and you're going to switch between them, knowing the ref, knowing the cadence of the ref, knowing how the ref's demeanor is, everything about the ref is important. It can really make a huge difference, particularly when you're competing on the WAF rules, PAL rules. Anybody that I was instructing on that one, it would always be a big thing. Know your refs, watch the style, watch your class. Makes a big difference. It really does.
Yeah, you never want to be the first person called up at a WAF.
Not ideal. Never. Not ideal. So V Porge with a super chat. He's put, I just finished watching and it was great. GJ guys for the incredible fight and F Bowen. Nice. It's really catching on. You've started something here, Jordan. I hope you know. And Lloyd Christmas with a super chat. He's put, congratulations, Jordan. Awesome performance. And Dallas, keep your head up.
It's a great name, Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah, Lloyd Christmas, good dude. Absolute quality. So let's have a look. So Ryan's exposed cable with a super chat for Bogdan. He's put, easy to say all of this, Bogdan, when you're winning. If you lose to Bowen, stay composed. Sound a bit arrogant at the moment. Male model makes sense now. Oh.
What can I say to that?
Starting it, dude. Don't buy into it.
Hey?
What could I say to that?
Burned you. And just off the back of that one, here comes another. Ryan Blue Bowen with a super chat. Gonna have to get him in a bit if this carries on. He's put, Jordan, you training today, mate. Need to start preparing for that computer technician looking dude, Bogdan. He's off already.
Go for it.
Oh gosh. No, I'm actually not. It's Saturday for me, family day. My missus works Sundays, so it's pretty much the only day I get because I work Monday through to Friday. So very rarely train Saturdays.
Now we're going to dig into that in a minute. I want a little bit of a go around on that, on what's to come there. We're going to start that chat going generally, but the biggest thing that I wanted to sort of focus on was, now that you've seen and had the experience, and this is going to individually, we'll start with Dallas. You've had the experience of Ryan. You've had the experience of Bogdan. Stylistically, you know where they're at now. Obviously, it's fair to say that Ryan's probably bigger and stronger. Maybe not bigger, actually, but certainly more developed and stronger than he was when you pulled him last. However, it could be a balancing factor in there, because I'm sure you are as well.
Right.
You know? How do you see that match going, and who do you think would win?
I think it'll be close, but I would bet all day on Bogdan. So there's pros and cons to. So Bowen has, I would say, less power than me when I'm in my strongest, and I was, in my opinion, just playing it out, and I don't mean this offensively, I felt like I was 20% stronger than Bogdan in my spot. He knew how to avoid my spot. Bowen, I would imagine, is 10% stronger in that same spot than Bogdan. That being said, the factor that you have to take into account is Bowen doesn't have a floppy wrist and hand, and doesn't have the necessity of needing the strap. And it's all he does is his job. He arm wrestles. So he has a lot riding on this. His hand and wrist are significantly better than mine. His power is less than mine, but Bogdan has every single move, and that's going to win. He's going to, for sure, flash pin Bowen at least once, if not twice. If he doesn't fall into the traps of Bowen of bleeding himself, Bogdan will win, and could win potentially every single round if he's smart.
Now, Frode Haugland gave really, really clear feedback after he pulled with Bogdan, and he said that he's one of the most difficult men to guess right and to stop. Now, last night we had Ryan on the show, we had Evan on the show. Both those guys said, look, there's no mystery to Bogdan Stoica. You can read him like a book. You know exactly what he's going to do. There's no difficulty in stopping him, in putting the brakes on. What would your response to that be?
Who said that? Whoever said that is an absolute idiot.
Ryan Bowen and Evan.
Oh, both absolute idiots. If that's their, I know they're not really meaning that. They don't mean that. And if they are serious about that, you're going to be shocked, and you will lose all rounds if you go into it thinking that. He can broadcast one move and do an entirely opposite move with zero preparation time. So good luck. He was the most crafty arm wrestler I've ever pulled, ever.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that it looks like he's going to go away, and yes, he might go that way, but you're having to prep for the fact that he just as easily.
You have to prep entirely one way or the other, and he'll go the opposite way before you have time to adjust. So that's so wrong by Bowen and Evan. Yeah, Evan knows.
I would agree with everything you just said. Having had experience with Bogdan and watching Bogdan and mucking about with Bogdan. Bogdan's a tricky bastard.
Yeah.
I'm
sneaky in the setup and can cheat really well, but it didn't matter.
Oh, we know.
Did you like the move, the pushing the strap?
The middle finger thing.
Yeah, Robert Baxter special.
None of you guys knew that shit about. So I taught you guys all some great moves. I showed you, Robert Baxter. He's won Worlds 5 years in a row. He beat
Robert Baxter. I know Robert very well. Yeah, Robert Baxter.
He beat Richard Lucas like 2 years ago. There's no way he should beat Richard Lucas. Robert, it looks like a pizza delivery man. Like, there's no way that dude should beat Richard Lucas, and he beat him easily because he's so fucking sneaky in the setup, and that's all Robert Baxter specials right there.
Sly like the fox. Now, same sort of soup warmed over, Jordan Davis. You've already put the knife into Ryan. However, I sort of wanted to go down this track and get your thoughts on it, because I know from our conversation in the house, you hold Ryan in extremely high regard as an arm wrestler. We spoke about that. How do you see the match with Bogdan Stoica? Do you think that's a good match? Do you think it's a stylistically an easy match for either one of those guys? How do you see it, and who gets it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what I believe is that.
Oh, we lost you.
Oh, no, he's doing the same thing as what.
And that's why I think it'll be 6-0.
Oh, okay, you can. Yeah.
That's what Jake did to you, wasn't it, last week?
Oh, okay.
What's in a Jackie Chan movie? Where'd your voice go?
Crafty Australians.
He's not, now that everybody's F Bowen except Jordan, who's the guy that created F Bowen. He's the only guy that wouldn't go F Bowen on our ass, even though he's immortalized on the front of the t-shirt and he'll be there forever because that t-shirt ain't washing off. So, you know, who do you, if you had £100, 100 Aussie dollars, so like a fiver, who would you bet?
So you were giving me £100. I was like,
yeah, I was going to give you £100. You freaking retire. You'd be like, a yacht where I live.
Red panty night.
Yeah.
That's the next flight to ARMWRESTLING. Bam.
Yeah. Who do you got? Come on, put it on the block, son.
Yeah, as I said before, it's definitely going to be.
Oh, you're a massive straw. I'll tell you what a bell end. I liked him before. Terrible, that, isn't it? Cooks.
Hey, you can't complain. I cooked you food.
He did. Mate, Jordan, if you're ever having an iron house, you need Jordan Davis in there just because the man is like he's incredible.
I don't think I would have survived the weekend.
Stuff. Coming.
Jordan Davis. Every time I walked into the kitchen, there was a plate of food there. Sometimes it was hot. Sometimes it had been there waiting a little while, and I'd be like, "Is that?" And he'd be like, "It's yours."
Yeah, he'd sort it, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
he'd sort it. We had a few master chefs in there. Obviously, Shedis was on point, wasn't he? He'd be throwing a few things.
Yeah, we had a good couple of wars.
Yeah, there was some master chefs in that place. There was. So I wanted to speak to you guys now, but to Dallas and to Jordan. First experience under your belt. Do you think if you came back now, you would feel much more comfortable? Do you think you've sort of got a bit of wind under your sails now?
I think that you go, Dallas. You go.
It's all you.
I think the big difference now is that you know where we're at. You know how we match up with who you know, and you can match us up to absolute perfection. And I think the next time we come, it's only going to be better wars. So, yeah.
If you had your choice, though, mate, if you had your script, knowing the guys that are out there and knowing who's on the circuit, who are the type of people you'd like to arm wrestle? Who are the guys that you've seen on the circuit or elsewhere? Who are the guys that you're sort of? If I can even throw names at you if you like.
Go for it.
So let's have a crack at a couple of these. What about Glenn Bengtson? The project.
Give it. Sure. Absolutely.
Have you watched much of Glenn? Is Glenn a guy that you think?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do you think you match up?
Absolutely. Or his training partner. Glenn's in that nice comfy zone height-wise. So I think as he posts back, it's going to feel just like that fourth round with Bogdan. And then if he comes in, I'm going to have that struggle time to keep him out. And I think that'll create the war that you're looking for.
Yeah. What about Niklas Narnestad?
I want to verse someone taller than me that's a good top roller. So,
I know
where he's going. Like, yeah, you're going to have to adjust the cameras there, James.
Yeah.
And we're going to need a taller room because I don't think Nick could get under that beam. That beam was quite low.
Yeah, he made me unconscious. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, the kitchen beam, you mean?
Yeah, not only that, but the one.
Nobody cares about the beams. Let's talk about arm wrestling.
Yeah, roll it. Yeah.
No, Nicholas poses that threat that I haven't faced before, where he's taller than what I've arm wrestled and he top rolls. So, but it's a low hand dragging, and I know that he relies a lot on his bicep. So if I get that chance to get that stop, I think that I could pull him open efficiently like I did and like I do normally. So.
Interesting stuff. So Dallas, what about yourself, mate?
Frode, that's still who I want. I really don't care about a whole lot of other dudes. I just want to have I don't want to have to go, oh, that was fun. I got top rolled. Sweet. Like, I want to fucking grind with someone and go to war. Like, that's the part that feeds me and continue, like, makes me want to continue. It's not, ooh, who's the craftiest bastard out there? Like, I'm not the crafty guy. I want to freaking, let's get in it and go.
What about your?
You definitely. Oh, go on. Sorry, Neil.
Oh, go on, mate. I've been talking.
I was just going to say, and you definitely want that to be with a European, though. That wall.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't want to travel to Europe to pull someone from California. That's because it's pretty expensive.
Well made.
Now. But yeah, I've done that. I've done that before. I flew to, well, not to Europe, but I flew to Chicago for a wall event and pulled my training partner, Spencer Lightning Fire. I'm like, that was fun. Took him out of the tournament. I'm like, sorry, it's going to be a weird flight home together.
Yeah.
So yeah, anybody that wants to go inside, but preferably someone who's not like, I want to pull that dude that RVJ pulled, Sasha. I want someone who's a fucking monster on the inside, because I don't think anyone's beating me right now on the inside. If they go in, I don't think anyone's beating me. So put that down in your books.
Fair enough. So let's sort of look at the future plans in that respect. Who are the guys that you think are being overlooked? Who are the guys that you've been most impressed with? I mean, obviously, Ryan had been in the chat earlier on. He's been sort of banging the drum for Mika, who I've been a big fan of as well. Mika's
like stud. There's so many people that are so good that nobody knows because they don't travel. There's within an hour drive of me, there's 10 dudes that are like hard to beat.
Yep.
So there's so much competition. It's just who's putting their YouTube videos out and who's making a name for themselves are the more evident ones. And the only reason I'm relevant is I'm able and willing to travel. So like that's a lot of it. Who
gives Bogdan Stoica fits, Dallas, from North America?
I think Bowen will give him an issue, but I think Bogdan will win. In fact, I know Bogdan will win. He's so fucking crafty. It's a weird matchup, honestly. My parents watched it. My parents were like, that professor looking guy, how did he beat you so fast? And I'm like, yeah, he's so crafty. He's a very difficult matchup because he has every move. So I'd say someone who has ability to drive inside and has endurance is going to give Bogdan an issue. So that's why Frode was such a good match for him. So that was entertaining to watch, him and Frode. But yeah, I'm sure there's plenty, but you better make sure they're very versatile. Otherwise, it's like going to be a waste of everyone's time to watch them go flash pin. Oh, that's fun.
Is Ryan someone you'd like to get back at some point, mate?
I'm trying to set a matchup with him right now. There's a tournament coming up here in a few months. The Compound Arm Wrestling guys are putting it together, and we told him, hey,
you should hold.
Yeah. So he asked for the world, and they don't have a humongous budget, and he's asking for him and his wife and all sorts. Like it'd be too expensive to do what he's asking for. So yeah, I would love to pull Bowen again because he made some ridiculous claim the other day. I like Bowen, so keep in mind, and he's easy to talk shit on. I like Bowen. He's claiming that he would go 5 rounds inside every match hook. I'm like, bro, you're getting a little out there. So yeah, that's what he said he would do. And he's like, yeah, I'll beat you every time inside, wherever you want, start however you want. I'm like, okay, Bowen. So yeah, that's a little interesting to me. But I'd love to pull him again.
That would be very interesting.
He said that to Larry Wheels as well.
He would I would imagine he would lose. I mean, why did he not do it to Larry in the tournament then? Why did he instantly cheat the shit out of his setup and top roll him? He's scared. That's why. And it was wise. I'm not saying it was a bad move. I would have done this. I wouldn't have done the same thing. But if I had his move, he did exactly what he needed to do to win. It was a great match. But yeah, he was clearly not going to dive inside with Larry, who's the strongest dude in the world. Whatever he does, lifts weights all day.
If you look at someone like Mika, for example, who's relatively new and inexperienced, and how do you think he slots into that kind of environment with someone like Jordan?
I think it would be fantastic. Mika, yeah, very, very, very good matchup. They're both fast. They both have tons of energy. I love all the little steal shots of Jordan. Like all that stuff is so entertaining. Mika is freaking entertaining to watch. He's learning, and so right now putting them together. I don't know who wins. In 2 years, Mika now has some time to develop his craft, and he is going to be a disaster to deal with here very soon. But yeah, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, he really looks like he's putting things together well.
Yeah,
starting to join stuff up, and a really nice guy as well.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Very, very, very good bloke. I have a lot of time for him, so I'm sure that he'll be a guy that we see over here. I wanted to ask you about Jason Merlo.
He would be fun as well. I've never pulled him. He's an inside guy. He seems super strong. He would be a lot of fun to pull. Adam Orzinski, he just made Brent Rakers look like a child.
Yeah. And the other guy that I has been on my radar for a long while. There's a couple actually. I'm a big fan of Kevin Robertson as well. Right. I'm also a big stylistically. I think Kevin matches well with a lot of dudes. Big rangy lad, and he's pretty solid as well. Cunningham's another guy. Rogers, I love Rogers.
I'd love to pull that. Yeah, there's a few of them on this East Coast that I never see because they never travel outside of where they're at. So if I really get the bug to travel to that, like my whole focus right now is just Craig because he's number one and I think I can beat Craig. But after I win and I'm number one, I want to go after dudes that I don't think I can beat or think that would cause me a lot of trouble that may not cause Craig trouble. So like there's Storm Chelino, never pulled the dude. He is stylistically terrible for me. I want to see what that's like. Justin Bishop, he's destroyed me in 2017. I want him back, but I also know he's stylistically terrible for me as well. I want RVJ. I've never pulled him. Even though if I win in 2-3 weeks or whatever this is and become number one, everyone knows there's an asterisk on it because RVJ really is the dude. So I want to go after RVJ. So
how do you think that goes between Bogdan Stoica and RVJ?
That would be I think that would be a match and a half. That could be really, really good. I know RVJ and Jordan Seale's hands are very similar, and I know Jordan's hand because I've pulled him several times. Very difficult to deal with. So that could be the stopper to Bogdan with his moves is just the containment because you grab a hold of him, RVJ or Jordan Seale, and you grab that hand and you're like, oh, this is going to be bad. So RVJ and Bogdan could be really fun to watch. That's actually phenomenal.
There's so many matches out there that I'm very intrigued by the whole Merlo and Bogdan thing because Jason's a bad dude, both arms.
Yeah.
I think if you throw Nicholas Nana-Stad, who will be back in Arm Wars as soon as I can get him. Nicholas is like Froda. He's that guy there's always there. Right. The other guy that will be back in Arm Wars as soon as I can possibly get him back in and as soon as he's fit to compete, without a shadow of doubt, is Jeff Hale.
He's fun to watch.
I absolutely...
Just on that, Frode's in the chat and he says, has Neil told everyone how bad I would crush these guys if I had been there?
You got the link?
Froda is working tonight, so he couldn't come on. He wanted to come on.
Oh, gosh.
He was working tonight, but very, very keen to get in the mix. Very, very keen to get back involved. When Danny Tesh resurfaces, we will actually, let's just start, hang on. We'll just have 30 seconds. Danny Tesh, ladies and gentlemen, we did mention his name, so you got no point having process not following it. So yeah, and he could twat you down. Now, when Danny does resurface at some point, probably on a cloud, we'll actually try and get him over for that legendary match with Frodo Hoagland. I've got a semi on. I only thought about it for a couple of. I'll just take my mind off that for a minute. Okay, it's all right now. So
as soon as we get the strap on, we'll get all this sorted out.
No, don't remind me of anything like that. Don't remind me of that. Nobody needs to know that. So here's an interesting one. What about Jordan Davis, Tom Holland? Bogdan Stoica, how's that go down?
Oof. I don't know how Tom's right arm is right now. I know he's still dealing with the injury, but before the injury, he was really, really, really solid. I actually think if he's on his way to healing and he's not 100% as he was, I think it's a very good matchup.
Yeah, Tom Holland obviously pulling big men in the UK tournaments, got damaged badly with Adrian O'Dwyer. Yeah, we'll keep those in mind and see how they're healing up. We'll see how Jeff Hale is healing up, and he'll be back in there soon. I just had a message over from Ryan Bowen to Jordan. And he said, would love to hear Jordan's opinion when he's not on mute of how I do with...
Go on, give it us, Jordan.
Jordan is
What do you think?
Ryan's not feeling the love right now.
So Ryan's just sent me a message here. He said, I would love to know. He said, I'd love to know his opinions of Bogdan. He knows us both best.
I do. And that's why.
Oh, I can't believe you bottled it. After showing all that emotion and now you've bottled it. That is terrible.
You know what I said in the show about him having balls?
Retracted.
They just went back up.
That's retracted. There it is, the giant bird.
E.T.
We're not going to get it out of him, ladies and gentlemen. I've tried on 3 occasions. Ryan, I'm sorry, mate. I did try. But I think he must feel bad about it. He must feel bad about it. He's not going to go in there. He obviously thinks you're going to lose, Ryan. Quite clearly.
I just don't want to pick sides.
Yeah, that's not true. He thinks you're going to lose because he'd give it back to Stoica. He would, because Stoica dished it on his ass. So he would. He'd definitely give it to him. He must think you're going to lose. Brian Damage and the memories. Neil, has rankings and who's top 5 or 10 always been so much of a conversation? I don't remember it being such a big deal with everyone up until about 2 to 3 years ago. It has, yeah. It's a new thing in many ways because of the influx of new arm wrestlers who, and it's a great thing, who are really intrigued by the sport, interested in the sport, and they purchase mentally everything that they're shown, and they draw conclusions based upon that. Now, the reality of combat sport, of which arm wrestling is a big part, is that styles make matches. It is as simple as that. Arm wrestler A beats arm wrestler B, but can't necessarily beat arm wrestler C, who, you know the score, you know where I'm going. That's how it works. It really is. Once you get to a certain level, on any given day, you can get cracked. And you see that so many times. There's so many examples of that. When you get a lot of new guys coming into the sport and they see everything like that in black and white, they see the results in black and white. The only thing I can say to that, mate, is that from a rankings perspective and from the sort of, oh, this is how it's going to go, this is how it's going to go, it really isn't the case. I wish I could see half. I wish I was as sure about anything as a lot of the guys that you see in chats that are calling matches are about everything. Arm wrestling is a lot of grey and not so much black and white. It really is. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys out there, as Dallas said a moment ago, he can drive an hour away from his home and meet 10 guys that are really, really tough. He's mentioned a few on here tonight, like Adam. Robbie Russell is another one that's been on my radar for a long period of time. And the guy's right arm looks monster strong. I mean, that's a guy that must interest you, Dallas, because he doesn't go around people. Robbie Russell tends to be the guy that's going to run straight into you headlong.
Yeah, Robbie and Adam both. They are not afraid to go inside, and they're both crazy strong there. I've pulled Adam several times, never pulled Robbie. And Adam and Robbie seem to kind of switch back and forth, or have in the past. Mm-hmm. So I'd imagine it would be similar. The only advantage, I think, me versus Robbie is hand size. Adam's hand is nasty to deal with. It's humongous, so you can't get a good bite, where I would imagine Robbie's maybe slightly easier. Both very, very strong, though.
Yeah, and that, I'm sure, like you say, that is a match that got the potential to go either way because both men monstrously strong. I mean, we saw Adam so impressive against Brent, who's no bum. Very polished.
Yeah, Brent just waxed me a few weeks ago. I was in Vegas at a tournament, and I just got rolled by Brent and several. I was not at my peak form, but it's either way. I got smashed by him, and then Adam just held him. like a child. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Adam's looking really good.
Peaks and troughs, brother. Peaks and troughs. Marcus Thompson, dude, you are amazing. He's coming with another super chat. Kyle Hutchinson, Neil, would be good for Arm Wars. Yes, he would. Need some Irish in the mix. Mate, you bet your ass. I was actually speaking to a couple of the Irish lads only this week. I mean, Adam Johnston's another guy that I absolutely love. I'm a big fan of Nigel Riley. What a character that lad is. Love the Irish. Love the spirit of the Irish. A lot of my very close friends are Irishmen, and they're up for it 110%. So yeah, I would love to get. I not only would love to get, will get. I've actually spoken to Kyle a couple of times about coming over. Adrian O'Dwyer was on the card. Adrian unfortunately had to pull out of the event, but Adrian, we were gutted. Adrian was on the card. We wanted Adrian over. I think he's another solid arm wrestler. So yeah, there will be Irish lads on the cards going forward. We'll definitely get that.
Who would you think for Kyle, Neil?
There's a number of guys that work well for Kyle. The biggest thing for Kyle is whether or not Kyle is pulling strongly, because if Kyle's on and he's pulling well and he's fully fit, he's a very, very powerful lad. But he's just had a serious injury, really serious injury that's kept him out of the sport for over a year. And he needs to be 100% healed for that, you know. But Mindaugas Dulskas is a great match for him. You know, Mindaugas is very, very strong. He's really come into his own. It will be a interesting stylistic match with Kyle. I actually would like to see Kyle Hutchin when he
that
does.
That guy's got a serious hand on him, Mindaugas.
Oh yeah, thick, very thick. Now Kyle Hutchinson and Larry Wheels would be interesting as well. Larry Wheels and another match that I mean Lachlan Adair's another guy that I'd really want to get over if I could. I got a number. I know I saw a note the other day. One of the matches that I'd spoken to you about the other week when I was over at your place. Remember we were speaking about Lachlan and Pavlo. That match,
yes.
That was a match that I'd mentally noted as would be good. Well, Lachlan and Pavlo is taking place. I think Paul Italia is putting that match on. So good job, Paul. I rate that match highly. I think that's a really, really solid match, and that should be very, very interesting. So
as long as we get to see it.
There's a huge amount of matches out there. It's exciting times for arm wrestling, ladies and gents. It really is. And I want to say a massive thanks to everybody. We're going to jump off here in just a moment. Let these guys.
Can I just say a massive thanks to these guys? I mean, we get a lot of praise for the matchmaking and for the production, but there comes a point where we need to hand it over to you guys, the pullers, and you guys absolutely knocked it out of the park, especially considering some of the problems we had coming in with Broad, etc.
Yeah.
Thank you. You were absolute superstars, all three in your own ways. Brilliant. Thank you very much. You made my job easy.
The crew of guys that we had at the first, I mean, it was like we were blessed.
Oh, the whole house.
Guys were amazing. And I can't emphasize enough, wait till you see what's coming, guys. We got some killer matches coming down the pipe.
Soon as well.
Soon. Weekly. Every Friday, we'll be doing the show. We'll be doing the aftermath, this show. You'll be seeing these guys again. They're going to feature in there. And we'll have them on just for comments and stuff as well. But keep your eye on that. Every Friday night, Arm Wars Aftermath. We'll be on here straight after the premiere. The premiere will go on at 9:30 UK, which is 4:30 Eastern, 1:30. Is it 4:30 or 5:30 over there now? And 1:30 Pacific. And that is 22:30 Central European time. Every Friday. Keep it real. Keep tuning in. We need your support, guys. And for all of those people that have been supporting us, that have been back in the channel, that have been joining up as members, myself and James can't thank you enough. Without you guys, without your support,
mega,
we're not going to be here for long. So if you like what we are doing, if you enjoy the Arm Wars events that we're putting on, please support us, guys. If you do, we'll make them bigger, we'll make them better, and we'll continue to do these things. Fart with a last-minute super chat. He's put F Bowen. It's a thing, Jordan. It's a thing, son. It is a thing. And remember, check tonight. All the channel members, the F Bowen shirts are available exclusively for you guys to buy. I'm going to be putting a different version out very soon. On this
that is one that's not going to die, because that was, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And it's still very much.
Oh, it's stuck.
It's a fan favorite
for a tattoo.
Yeah.
Having it done. I sent it to Evan Burgoyne tonight. He said, I'm in. Need to have that shirt. It's got so many lovers.
You're gonna wear it to Arm Wars. What are you talking about?
Yeah, 110%, mate. Oh, 100.
It might be like the newspapers. You know when bad news goes into newspapers and then the rich guy buys all the newspapers who don't want it. Ryan might buy all the shirts.
Mate, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that will go on and on and on. It's just you can tell it's never going to go away. Listen, if you've enjoyed the show tonight, guys, and you want to keep the chat going, in the modern era of arm wrestling that Jordan was referring to before, and we had some super chats on where there's so many things going on, it's very, very hard to keep track of everything. If you want to do that, one great way of doing it is to get the newsletter from ARMWRESTLINGforums.com. Ryan Turner, who supports the channel here, has got it's basically a newsletter that will come out to let you know exactly what's going on. You get an email every Monday with links to all the major arm wrestling happenings and the interesting discussions. It's a really easy way to stay up to date with what's happening in the sport, and it's free. So yeah, armwrestlingforums.com, guys. That's armwrestlingforums.com. Check it out. The chat will go on and on. As I say, if you like what we're doing, please back the channel, support the channel. Ryan Bowen with a last-minute super chat. He's put, wear criticism like an armor. Hashtag FU2. Hey, go on, Ryan. Get in there, son.
That's right. You see the name two below that, Neil?
Sorry, mate.
The name two below Ryan super chat.
Let's have a look. It's F. Bowen. He's in the chat. F. Bowen is in there. Mate, one of my favourites I saw earlier on was Ron Bath's ear. I absolutely loved it when we had Ron Bath on the show and he had phone till switched on with a camera to his ear so he could hear. And his bloody ear was extreme close-up. There's some classics out there. There really is.
I've got Johnny, the Arm Wars apprentice here, which I'll introduce you to in the next couple of weeks. But he was just giggling all the way through all the names that are coming up. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic.
Great times for arm wrestling. It really is. Absolutely fantastic times. Guys, we'll be back with the fix on Sunday night. So tune into that. If you're not a subscriber, if you're not sub to the channel here on Supernatural Strength, please give us a like, give us a share, give us a sub. We hope you have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to check out the show tonight, check out the film. And we hope you enjoyed this here on Aftermath. Massive thanks to our guest tonight, Jordan the Reacher Davis of Australia, ladies and gents, winner in tonight's film. We had Dallas Langston, the United States of America, heading into a massive match. Just give us a last plug on that, Dallas, when that's taking place and who against.
It's in a couple weeks, Hawthorne. It's not a super match. It's just a tournament, and Craig is planning on going there. He won the tournament last year. He's currently ranked #1. So whoever wins the tournament is going to be ranked #1. And I like that Craig is not scared to go pull, even though he's ranked #1. So that's one thing I love with Craig. He's not afraid.
He's not afraid at all. Bad man. Nothing to prove. Craig Touye, the Fury, will be there. Former Arm Wars world champion, real star. It's another guy I'm sure we'll see back in the circuit soon. Last but by no means least, once again, he is the champion of the battleground from Iron House 1, the Iron Arm. Bogdan Stoica, ladies and gents. New sensation of the sport, Romanian national champion. He's tearing it up. And if you want to support this guy, get over to Bogdan Stoica's channel. Get sub to this guy. Give him some support. You're going to see much, much more of this fella. Ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed Aftermath. Until we see you next time here on Supernatural Strength, take it easy, peeps.
Take care.